I understand that for whatever reason, contrast makes perception possible. I also sense from my own experience that contrasts serve to awaken the senses and ignite consciously embodied awareness and presence. What I do not understand is why human consciousness tends to rectify contrasts into opposites, that continuing sleight of mind move, rather than sustaining pure awareness of contrasts or recognizing reciprocal or dialectical experience. To my mind, this tendency to perceive contrasts as opposites is a great source of human ignorance, pain and suffering. Could you shed light on this matter? It would be most appreciated. Thank you for continuing your most valuable teaching. I'm not sure if I'm missing the question or are we splitting the hairs here with regard to contrasts and opposites. But the most direct answer here, perhaps, is a reminder that we have a dual nature, or dual structure even, of the brains. It is the dual structure of the brains exemplified in that plus and minus that creates the spark in the first place, that allows for the possibility of that what we call ignition, something that ignites that spark. That is not spoken of as opposites. We may want to speak about plus and minus as being opposites, but this is where we're entering the never-ending cul-de-sac or loop of where language reduces us in this inquiry. I rather invite you to see this not in terms of that tendency to perceive contrast as opposites. Because if you look at it from the point of view of a creator, artist, musician, poet, painter, photographer, you would see that this will never even come to mind for a moment, because these contrasts and opposites, they are not spoken in terms of this kind of arguing, juxtaposing concepts where one gives rise to another, or one cancels, or one interdependent. It's simply how experience takes place. How experience takes place. So yes, if you had, something you want to eat, and it's better that you eat first maybe a fruit that is more sour before putting a sweet one, because, like if I eat in the morning orange and strawberry, I want to make sure that I eat less sweet fruit first to extract that taste, because after that, let's say whatever will be sweeter, then will deprive the subtlety of the experience of that fruit. I'm not going to put I'm not going to eat something sugary or honey-like and then savor a fruit, because it will spoil the whole experience, you see. I can even go further and to be really honest with you. And the first thing I ever taste as a taste, other than water, is the cup of green tea. And if I eat anything that already impresses my tongue, the palate, then I will never know the quality of that tea, because my tongue will already be, as it were, corrupted by a taste. So first, to appreciate the tea for what it is, it would have to be the first thing I try. Even my kids know that. Though I can speak about it as opposites, contrasts. So therefore, I invite you to view this, that all experiences are possible only because consciousness breaks itself down into the composite of perceiver, act of perceiving, and that what is being perceived. It always remains consciousness, but that perceiver, perceiving, and perceived are the necessary components without which there is no experience, none. At some point, spiritual circles in the non-duality especially seen began to speak with great contempt against all experiences. It started against spiritual experiences and kind of like undermining it, like, this is just an experience. And it's a very uneducated and very half-baked understanding, because everything is for the sake of experience. Everything. Consciousness, as it were, fragments itself so that the experience becomes a possibility for consciousness to savor it in the first place. But without these components, without that, how consciousness breaks itself into that triad of experience, that trinity of the subject, object, and the dynamics in between, that Rishi Devata Chandas of the Vedic law, there is no possibility. So those teachers who come up and declare there's no subject and no object, therefore, and there's no experience. Okay, let's go home then. We've done our work. We're done now. Yeah, there's no experience. Is that your experience? That there's no experience? I'm sorry. I yet to meet one person who tells me there's no experience. Well, if there's no experience, that's also a kind of experience, mate. No? No experience whatsoever. I don't experience anything. Even at this very moment, I'm not experiencing nothing. Nada. This is my experience. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say experience. It's just, there's no experience. Do you see how ridiculous it can really, how it can become really, really kind of almost comical. It's so a little bit of just, that play, that tweaking it just a little bit, that, the beauty of the dynamic. And Trikashaivism spills it out clearly. Everything is in that subject-object dynamics. Everything. That whole self-realization, that whole hide and seek, that whole beauty, everything is in that, what is exemplified in the dynamics of subject-object. And moreover, self-realization becomes a prerequisite so as to experience finer gradations of that what is then begins that dance of Shiva for his own entertainment, not for experiencing nothing. So another way of kind of not getting caught in this language games, like whether these are opposites, contrasts, you see? The whole marvel of creation, this magnificence, its infinitesimal degree of that relationship and how it expresses in myriads of ways. Infinitesimal and infinite as well, because it is not finite, it's not bound by neither causation, no time, no space. So therefore, these conversations, sometimes need to be taken outside of that context of, when you hear, maybe for the first time, that the cause of ignorance, right, is God's play. If it doesn't bring you a degree of a psychological relief means you don't understand what is being said. If you don't understand, if you don't savor and taste that there is no you who is undergoing a kind of a particularly wrong day or wrong incarnation, and suddenly you're no longer aware of your own essence. The you in you never came into the picture in the sense that you've always been greater than you have ever conceived possible. That is the frightening reality. That is the reality which needs to be approached, and there is this love affair born out of that. Courting the queen. So this, it's not down to the, like what becomes the reason, because yes, we can agree not to call this that, yes, we can suggest the Britannica in English language to maybe stop using the word opposites because they're causing calamity to humanity. It's causing a rupture. But they're not going to listen to us. They will say, I'm sorry, there's a word called opposites and contrasts. So deal with it. You see? So let's not get caught in the game of words. Let's not get caught in the language, because it opaques reality. It conceptualizes. And that is far from direct cognition. In the Yoga of Integrity, I believe, or Tantra Today, the course online that we have, I think in Tantra Today, I don't remember now, don't hold me against it, please. We spoke about different modes of perception, and there were a whole gamut of what is considered to be as misperception. That what conceals our nature, our essence, from our own selves. And intellectual and conceptual notions rising out of the grammar of the language is one of them. Therefore, for every concept that you come across here, there need to be a corresponding something. There need to be something that is throbbing, that intuits that. And if it doesn't, then you have to discard that until that becomes your reality. Therefore, it is dangerous when people adopt this "there is nothing" perspective, because they superimpose that what is not their experience on top of what is their experience and get confused. Anyway.